We have developed a feature-based classifier for dragonflies and damselflies that identifies these insects using scanned images of the wings. An easy-to-use prototype of the system has been implemented using MATLAB. The wings of dragonflies that have been captured in the field are removed from the insect and placed on a flatbed scanner, along with a ruler for calibration. Each wing is then segmented from the scan and presented individually to the user, who then selects the region known as the triangle on both a front and rear wing. This region has been identified as being particularly useful in classification, as its features vary between species and not individuals. By calculating just four of its properties, the aspect ratio, orientation, area, and number of enclosed cells, and comparing them to a property database of known species, we can identify the insect. In order to accomplish this, we must extract these features from the triangle using a multi-level image processing sequence. First, the scanned wings and ruler are each segmented from the scan. This is accomplished by binarizing the image using Atsu's method, isolating the regions of interest as white pixels and the background as black. Next, the convex hull of each wing is computed. This improves robustness by filling in any missing portions of the wing or ruler. This ensures that the entire portion of each is correctly extracted. To calibrate the image, two of the longest and closest vertical lines are identified in the segmented ruler using the Hough transform. By measuring the distance between these two lines, the number of pixels per unit of measurement can be calculated. Next, each wing must be registered such that they are all parallel to the x-axis. This is critical for correct calculation of triangle orientation. To do so, we first filter each wing using a match filter to identify its thickest portions, as these usually correspond to the crossvein, a roughly parallel line on the top of all dragonfly and damselfly wings. The match filter has the greatest response when it completely overlaps with a group of white pixels in the image, and the lowest response when it does not. By isolating the areas of the image with the greatest match filter response, the crossvein can be located. All other portions of the image are then deleted. Using the remaining pixels, a line is fit to the filtered wing using least squares regression. The angle this line makes with the x-axis is used to determine the angle of rotation required to make the wing parallel. Next, the user is asked to select the triangle from the original image of the wing using a polygonal lasso tool, as shown here. Once the triangle has been selected, it is made into a binary image, and any white regions connected to the edge of the image are deleted, leaving only the cells. These can then be counted using a connected component search, which looks for individual groups of white pixels in the image. In this case, the search identifies 5 cells. To calculate the area of the triangle, the image is morphologically closed, filling any gaps between the cells while preserving the shape of the triangle. By counting the number of white pixels, we can get an estimate of its area. This area is then calibrated to absolute units using the ruler from the scan. Next, the distance transform is used to find the centroid of the triangle. This transform determines the distance between every white and black pixel, and stores the distance at that pixel's location. This produces an image where the brightest region is the furthest from the edges, identifying the location of the triangle centroid. The 3 points along the edge of the triangle furthest from the centroid are then taken to be the 3 corners of the triangle. Using these points, the aspect ratio is easily calculated by dividing the height of the triangle by the width of its base. The orientation is calculated by taking the arctangent of the slope of the line from the apex of the triangle to the centroid. Once the features have been extracted from both a front and rear triangle, the features are assembled into a multidimensional vector, shown here as A. A set of training wings, which had been previously classified, were used to build a set of average feature vectors representing each species of interest. The angles between an unknown vector and each known vector can then be computed using the shown equation, where the known vector making the smallest angle represents the best match. A two-dimensional example of this is shown here, where the vector A represents the unknown vector, and the vectors mu1 and mu2 the average known vectors. This method of classification has been adapted from the spectral angle mapper, or SAM, in remote sensing, which performs spectral classification in a similar manner. Backward feature selection was performed to find the minimum number of features required for classification. This is done by classifying each vector in the training set using all possible combinations of features. Each feature is eliminated one by one until the smallest feature set with the lowest possible misclassification rate is found. Using this reduced feature set, the prototype achieved an average species classification accuracy of 82.2%. The above confusion matrix was calculated using a small database of 3 genera, 6 species, and 34 individuals in total. A perfect classifier would have zeros everywhere except along the diagonal. However, note that all but one sample was classified into the correct genus. In the future, we hope to expand our dataset and attempt other classification methods once the statistical distribution of the data is known. This may help to improve classification accuracy. Furthermore, other wing patterns besides the triangle may prove to be useful in classification. Ultimately, we hope to develop a more automated mobile application that can be easily used in the field.